Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about the role of product development partnerships in controlling insect vectors of disease. IVCC, the Innovative Vector Control Consortium, is a product development partnership for vector control. We facilitate the development of the development and delivery of novel and improved vector control tools and solutions in challenge markets to combat the rapidly growing problem of insecticide resistance. We do this through funding from a number of partners, from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, USA, DFID, to mention a few. And we're addressing market challenges, de-risking innovations. Innovations need money and tools to prove that they can actually work, so we're de-risking those. We're innovator and community expert support, so we have a wide range of expert support for the IVCC. We have large technical and project and product management platform, and we're impact driven. So we do a lot of research, but we also want to make that research into reality, into a product that actually can make a difference. And we have a broad non-political outreach as well. So the current insecticides that are used for vector control have been around for decades. And there isn't really any new development or any new impetus to develop new insecticides because the vector control market is considered relatively small, especially against the agricultural market. And because of this, this decades of non-development, the current insecticides, there's a lot of resistance developing to those. And so these tools are becoming less and less effective over time. And this was realized by the IVCC, and back in 2008, an initiative or a mission was put together to develop some new AIs. And screening 45 million chemical compounds, working with industry, and repurposed AIs, taking those through taking them through different tests to eliminate those. And in the end, what we're trying to do is produce new insecticides that are of different insecticide classes, that work in a different way to the current insecticides to combat insecticide resistance. And we're also working to develop as many of those as we can for the future control. The insecticide resistance development at the moment is because we've got a limited number of insecticides and a limited number of classes. If we can improve that, we can use them in rotations, we can use them in methods to be able to combat insecticide resistance development. And so we are increasing the number of insecticides in the toolbox, and through that, we're developing those into products so we can have more vector control products available to control diseases. The IVCC does not work in isolation. We have expert scientific advisory committees that look at what we're doing and give us expert support. We work with, we've got a light facility, Liverpool insecticide testing facility in Liverpool that helps us to test the insecticides, but also we have a network of sites in Africa that we're bringing up to GLP standard so that we can test these new AIs and other products in the field to GLP standards and get them through to products. We have a board of trustees that meets twice a year. We also work with funding partners, academia, innovators, companies, implementation programs, and international organizations. So quite a broad range of people involved in the IVCC or helping the IVCC. So we've made, I'm going to talk about malaria mainly during this talk. I will come back to dengue at the end, but there's a lot of ways we can use what we learn in malaria in dengue. Now, there's been some great successes in the control of malaria over the past few years, but we're at a crossroads now. As I've talked about, we're getting resistance development to most of the new most of the old insecticides, and so from now on, if we regress, so we don't develop new insecticides, we don't develop new tools, malaria is going to come back. Simple as that. If we don't innovate, we don't keep bringing new tools to the market, we're going to fail. Okay, if we do, there's a chance that, okay, we can maintain the gains, just stay level across it. That's not what we want to do. Of course, we want to get towards elimination or even eradication. And to do that, we're going to need a whole suite of tools available in the arsenal to be able to combat malaria. Now, the ultimate goal with malaria is malaria eradication. Bill and Melinda Gates said this back in, I think it was 2008, 2007, 2008. Everybody said, no way. And so, but it was a challenge. It was a challenge that was put out there, and it was a challenge that we're trying to meet. And it's a lofty goal, of course it is, but if we don't get to eradication, there's always the chance it can come back. So that's our ultimate goal, is to get rid of this disease. So Imperial College in London, Tom Churcher has done some, and his team have done some modelling of different scenarios using different tools. And they looked at a whole suite of different tools for this, but the ones that came up that really could make the most difference, at least in malaria, were long-lasting insecticide nets, indoor residual spray, something called attractive targeted sugar baits. I don't know whether you've heard about these. They're sugar baits that are hung on the outside or inside of houses. Mosquitoes generally feed more on sugar than they do on blood, males especially, because they don't feed on blood, but females and males, and it's an opportunity to kill them from the sugar feeding stage rather than from attractiveness to the host. And then there's drugs and vaccines, of course. Everything in this has to be integrated. Integrated vector management is the way forwards. How to do that is the hard bit. What tools to use together to actually achieve the result you want is not really being mapped out fully, and there needs to be a lot more work done on that. But the modelling does show that, in theory, if you can get these tools working together in the right way, and the 5 tools that we've identified there, we think can get us down sort of near eradication, but then mind the gap. There's a gap there that needs to be filled. And this shows that we need to continue to develop new tools, genetic tools, space sprays, improved housing. We need all these tools available at the end, because we know that last bit there is going to take as much effort as all of that we did before. All the decades of research, all the decades of work there is going to take as much of that to get down to eradication. But that's the goal. So what's the potential impact? Because, you know, why are we doing this? What's the point of doing all of this? Well, the point is that we can save lives. And the lives saved potentially can be in the millions and millions. And I won't go into details about this chart, but it just looks at the different tools and how they could impact saving lives. And then it's not just about saving lives. If you save lives through malaria, which is a huge disease burden and also morbidity burden, you can reduce the number of cases. That reduces or eliminates the number of ill people. You get additional work days, school days, less health care needed, etc. And that all boosts the economy, boosts the health of the population. And that has a monetary value as well. So one of the main functions of the IVCC is to work with industry. And we work with several different industry partners. And industry has bought into this. They realize that to get to this goal, we're going to have to work in different ways. And so industry has signed these 11 commitments. And I'm not going to go into the details of the commitments, but the primary goal of these commitments is to stay the course on new product development in vector control. They know this might not be profitable for them. They know that. But if they can share know-how, and if they can demonstrate doing so would help save additional lives, just a single life, they have agreed that they would share that know-how between them and make that available to help develop these tools faster, quicker, and more efficiently. And to work collaboratively on selected potential game-changing intervention classes, the ones I've talked about LLINs, what we call extra long-lasting IRS, and the ATSBs. So coming back a bit to dengue now. So we've got these models. We're developing new AIs, which not just for malaria, they can be used for other mosquitoes as well. Improved data quality we're working on, the scientific advisory committees, application technology, the GLP facilities. They're all ways that you can develop tools faster, quicker, and bring them to market. And it's for the creation of a toolbox. So we all know that certain tools work in certain areas very well, but they don't work in others. And you're going to need this large selection of toolboxes available to you so that you can control diseases. And we're working with the Australian government at the moment to do a landscaping exercise around the Asia-Pacific region, not just to treat malaria, but also to look at dengue and what tools are really going to make a difference. So sort of looking at the modelling, looking at what tools are available, what innovative tools could be developed that could really make a difference, not just to malaria, but also to dengue. And, you know, obviously looking for those quick, impactful wins with the learnings we've made from malaria in Africa. I'm going to finish there, and thank you very much for your time and attention.